Welcome to another edition of No Name Wrestling Radio. Still don't know what the hell we're going to be calling this. My name is Chuck Carroll. I write for CBS. On the line with me is Aaron Oster from the Rolling Stone and the Baltimore Sun. And of course, the only one of us with the blue check mark by his name on Twitter, TV insider Scott Fishman. How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Great.
Boy, man, that enthusiasm. Scott, I need some enthusiasm from you, man. This is radio, buddy, man. We need...
I am doing amazing. Like, the biggest, I'm having the best day ever because I'm talking to you guys. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, nothing is better than just getting all three of us together and talking some wrestling.
I know. It's the highlight of my life.
It is the highlight. I was gonna say the highlight of my day, but you took it a step further, so.
Well, gentlemen, I know that we've all been busy since we last talked. Let's just dive right in. What is the single biggest moment that you see coming on Fastlane? What is the one thing that you think we could see where you just say, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened? Aaron, what is your oh my God moment?
I think it's going to be, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something with Reigns and Braun. Some sort of crazy move that, just the two hosses decide to do. Some crazy power slam. Someone throws the other guy way farther than he should. That'll be kind of the defining moment. Is probably Braun will do something just crazy strong. We're like, oh my God, this guy can actually do that.
Bigger than a kip up then.
Yes, bigger than a kip up.
Scott, what about you, man? What's your oh my God moment?
Yeah, given what happened on Monday Night Raw, there's definitely going to be some sort of oh my God moment, whether it's some sort of electrical equipment getting messed up, some table bump, or they're going to fight on Cobo Hall somehow, and monster trucks are going to make their way to Detroit somehow. Something is going to happen where, it's going to be like an oh my God moment in that matchup, if you're going to call it that. That or the main event with the end of what's going to happen with Goldberg. I don't know if Scott Hall is going to come out with okay, sorry, I'm getting all flashbacks to every other ending in history, but yeah, those are the two matches where we're likely to see an oh my God moment.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. My oh my God moment, I'm actually wondering with Reigns and Strowman if they don't do the recreate the whole ring collapse scenario. We saw just a little bit of a taste of it on Monday where the turnbuckle came off, but I think, full-blown ring collapse could be cool. And by the way, if indeed they do abandon Shaq versus Big Show at WrestleMania, I still really hope that we could see a rematch between those two guys, and then wouldn't it be great if we could see Big Show come out and get involved, in which case you got three pretty big guys in the ring, and therefore it's subject to collapse by physics alone.
Oh boy, I couldn't imagine the crowd reaction if Braun and Roman are having a good match and Big Show comes out. I love Big Show, but just the fans would turn on that so quickly.
I don't know. Well, you got to get the ring to collapse somehow. It's either that or something huge happens at the end of the Owens Goldberg match. But it just seems too predictable that Jericho and Lesnar are going to be there, at least one of them. So that to me isn't going to be that holy kind of moment. Excuse my language. But if The Undertaker shows up for Reigns and Strowman, that would definitely qualify as an oh my God moment as well.
Yeah, that'd be pretty big as well. I just, if you're thinking oh my God moment, I just had a terrible vision of Goldberg running over Kevin Owens in a minute.
Oh God. Oh God.
Could you imagine?
I think
it's definitely not going to be a long match, but hopefully it's not like Survivor Series.
The kickoff match, we've got the Cruiserweight tag match. The Brian Kendrick is in there. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going with the Brian Kendrick just because, well, I like the guy. But let's keep this quick in 30 seconds or less. Aaron, how do you see this one playing out?
They seem to be really behind Akira Tozawa. I don't know why they've had him kind of fall to Kendrick the past couple weeks, but for a while Tozawa's getting a good reaction. This should just continue this. Tozawa and Swan wins it.
Scott?
Yeah, I think they're big on Tozawa, and I think he's done a great job in kind of getting the fans behind him. So I think a win here, getting a pin over Kendrick, kind of moves forward with that. So I'm gonna go with that his team.
And that's probably why I'm always last in these picks. Moving on, women's match: Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. I'll go first here. There's absolutely no way Nia loses before WrestleMania. They're by default, then Nia Jax goes over in this one. Scott, how do you see this one?
I think they want to continue to make them both look strong. So I think I was going to go with Sasha actually taking this one, kind of getting the win back.
Interesting. Aaron, how do you see that one?
Yeah, Sasha's done nothing but lose for the past few months, and Nia's done nothing but win. A win here for Nia really doesn't accomplish much for her, while a win for Sasha could do some big things. I don't think it'll be necessarily the cleanest win. It could be a count-out win or something like that, but I think a win for Sasha can do a lot more than a win for Nia here, so I'm picking Sasha.
Interesting. I just think that, Vince loves him some monsters, and Nia's the only one that he has in the women's division. I can't see her losing that kind of momentum heading into WrestleMania. But that's just me.
I mean, but if Sasha loses, then she has no momentum heading into WrestleMania. And if the idea is possibly to have a four-way, you need to get Sasha back up on that level, I really think.
Okay. I can respect your opinion, sir, but I respectfully disagree. Cruiserweight Championship match. Aaron, I'm going to kick this one to you to lead it off. Neville versus Jack Gallagher. How's this one going to play out?
I think it's a little bit early for Gallagher, so I don't think he has a win. The one thing that has me wondering is just the return of Austin Aries, and if he's going to be inserted immediately into the title picture, that could lead to a Gallagher win, just so you could have Gallagher Aries. But I think it's Neville here. I think it's too early for him to drop it. He's the only thing they really have going consistently in the Cruiserweight division right now.
Scott?
I think the money match for, if there is a money match within the Cruiserweight division right now, is the returning Austin Aries, and they kind of hinted at that on Monday with the video package with Neville. So I'm going to go with Neville here, but Gallagher has been very impressive. But I think having Neville kind of build momentum heading into WrestleMania, if he's indeed facing Austin Aries, is a good thing here. I just hope it doesn't turn into kind of like a Cruiserweight Open where, no one really gets the spotlight.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you guys about Neville, but for kind of a different reason. Of everyone in the Cruiserweight division, aside from Brian Kendrick, he's arguably the most established name there, and I think that it would do more if it's not going to be Austin Aries to give the belt to one of the up-and-comers at a bigger stage like WrestleMania than it would be to give him into the pay-per-view that precedes it. So for that reason, I'm going with Neville. Now, let's talk about some of the bigger matches on the card. Let's start first with the Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe match. I actually see this one playing out very, very well given their history. I'm going with Joe in this one just because he's got to look strong. So Joe, period to me. Scott, how do you see this one playing out, buddy?
Yep, I make Joe look strong, I think, is the way to go in this kind of scenario, which I feel bad for Sami Zayn has been put in this kind of position. But I think it's going to be a great match. Hopefully the guys are given the time, but I'm going to say Joe takes it at the end.
Aaron?
Yeah, the best thing that could have happened to Joe, honestly, was Rollins' injury. You got to assume that they were heading towards Rollins, Joe here, and Rollins would have gone over Joe to earn that match with Triple H, which kind of would have sucked for Joe. So Joe gets Sami now. I think the question isn't whether or not Joe wins here. Joe is going to win. The question is, do they just make it a pretty much squash match with Joe just running roughshod, or do they give this time, and where if they do, it could be the match of the night?
That's a very good question. I wonder if we couldn't see some interference here from Seth Rollins, maybe a little bit of redemption. I'm not really 100% sure. I think that he could play a factor in this match, absolutely. But I will tell you this, I am a little bit worried about Sami Zayn. Yes, he's popular. To me, it looks like his status is just, it keeps ticking away a little bit every week. It just seems like it gets chipped away a little bit. Like, I haven't seen a really big win from him in quite some time. That's just kind of my feeling. I'm worried that he's fading maybe a little bit into that mid-card oblivion.
It seemed like they had something in mind for him when they had him go over Jericho on Raw a few weeks back, and then the Rollins injury happened, so they had to shift Joe away from Rollins towards something else. They had to, they did the thing with Jericho. I think they sped up the breakup there a little bit. So it seemed like there was something in mind for Sami, and I think there still could be something in mind for Sami. It's just not quite, the timing hasn't worked out for him right now.
Right. I think he I was hoping he would get drafted to SmackDown because I think there was a lot more potential for him on that show and it fit better on that show. But I agree with you in that sense. But I look at him kind of like a Dolph Ziggler, where they look at him, the guy that can put on great matches and kind of really help establish guys, kind of a utility player. But then getting these opportunities, and then he kind of falls by the wayside. So I mean, like you said, hopefully he gets an opportunity down the line, maybe even after WrestleMania.
Yeah, we hear about those the rumors of the roster shakeups post WrestleMania, maybe some SmackDown and Raw talents changing brands. Maybe then Sami Zayn does get that opportunity. I agree with you guys wholeheartedly that he would flourish on the blue brand, whereas he's a little bit lost in the mix now over on Monday nights.
Yeah, I mean, going over to SmackDown, what you could instantly insert him pretty much anywhere. I still think that even if they didn't switch him over, that there's room on the Raw brand, maybe not at the very tippy top, especially as we get to these bigger matches later. But if you tell me that he comes out by May as a solid U.S. champion, I could absolutely see that.
Yeah. I'd like to see some kind of gold get on him. I think he needs it. Let's talking about gold. Let's talk about the women's championship match. Okay, we've got champion Bayley taking on Charlotte Flair. Of course, Charlotte undefeated on pay-per-views. They're talking about that a whole heap. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I see Charlotte winning this, but then I see Bayley winning it back at WrestleMania because that's going to be the bigger moment. That's when Charlotte's pay-per-view streak comes to an end, and Bayley gets her big crowning moment in the WWE women's ranks. Aaron, let's start with you. How do you see this one playing out? Do you agree?
No, I don't agree. This weird obsession they have with Charlotte's pay-per-view streak is clearly still on their mind right now. I don't know who came up with it. I don't know why they came up with it. But there's a reason that Bayley won on Raw and won in such a weird way, an un-Bayley-like way. And I don't know, and I don't think they do that if the plan is for the pay-per-view streak to end. They would have just had Bayley win at the pay-per-view if that was the case. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, I don't know that Bayley drops the title here. It could be a disqualification. Sasha Banks gets involved. Nia Jax gets involved. Something happens like that. But Charlotte's going to win this just because they're not ending this streak that they're seemingly obsessed with.
Scott, what about you, man?
I don't see Bayley losing the title either heading into WrestleMania. Well, part of me wants her to hold the title because I'm tired of this whole hot potato when it comes to the women's championship with the same old bread and butter. Even though I respect it and they're great women and they put on great matches, but it's the same combinations every week. I will say for Bayley, it's been a little bizarre the way that the kind of position they've kind of put her in. I kind of see this ending in a sense where they're going to keep Charlotte kind of to look strong, but also keep her streak alive, but also maybe kind of have some sort of maybe interference by Sasha. Maybe she gets Bayley disqualified or some sort of ending like that where, Charlotte still stays intact with her win streak, and then Bayley still keeps the championship, and it kind of continues the story with the ladies heading into WrestleMania. So I think that's kind of maybe the direction they might go with it, but who knows?
And are we seeing
I was going to say, you said something interesting there, Scott, about the way they've positioned Bayley. Are you guys with me that they have kind of completely screwed up Bayley and screwed up her character? The way she won the title, the way that she's been positioned has been really, really weird when you think about Bayley's character.
Yeah, I definitely think that, especially during that whole segment about her, forfeiting the championship and then saying that she's not going to do it. It's just been interesting. I mean, the reason that she was so big in NXT is because she was this big attraction on her own, a special attraction, someone that stood out, and they put her in these different scenarios where fans wanted to cheer and know, this big underdog. And I get the sense a lot of times it's like the complete opposite of what we're seeing on the main roster here. But I think positioning Bayley heading into WrestleMania kind of as the underdog, where she's going to have all these women going for her championship in a fatal four-way, I think that kind of may help her, moving forward, especially if Sasha turns heel later on too.
Well, keep in mind here, we're talking about the difference between Bayley and NXT and Bayley now. It's that, Vince has his hands in the cookie jar here, I mean, that NXT, Vince is very much hands off. So things are going to get shaken up when people get called up, and so I think that, of course, those changes aren't limited to Bayley exclusively.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely up and down, but it seems like Bayley in particular, like she had such an easy character. She was the ultimate underdog. She was the person everybody liked. And it's not even that she's doing anything bad, just the positions that she's being put in is weird. I remember, leading up to Survivor Series that, she took part in a 5-on-1 beatdown. That's something Bayley should never be doing.
Right.
At Survivor Series, it was Bayley and Charlotte together in a 2-on-1 ending up winning it. That's a position she should never be in, taking advantage of a weakened opponent in a 2-on-1. It's these little things that are just hurting Bayley. And again, Bayley winning via outside interference. If this is supposed to be a big moment for Bayley finally overcoming and winning the title, A, if she's the ultimate underdog, she shouldn't be winning the title in 4 months. B, she shouldn't be winning it due to outside interference. It's just all very, very strange. If you're trying to put her in a position, like Scott said, of being an underdog, you can't be an underdog the way that they're positioning her.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm honestly wondering a little bit. It's kind of in the back of my head. It's like, I know that they're doing weird booking with Bayley, but then you see Sasha, who's supposed to be this babyface too. Babyfaces traditionally, historically, don't cheat to win. And that's exactly what Sasha did to help Bayley. So that, to me, that's a head scratcher on its own. And so for a little while, I'm wondering, like, are they planting the seed for Sasha to turn heel down the line, maybe sooner rather than later, even though she was helping Bayley win? Like, what the hell is going on there? Scott, what do you think, man? Is there a heel turn coming?
I do, but I want to say that I hope it's continuous slow burn here when it comes to that heel turn, because heading into WrestleMania, you kind of want to even the odds a little bit with Sasha and Bayley, and if it is not a fatal four-way. We're assuming it's going to be like this fatal four-way that can completely change. But in my mindset, this is kind of a little direction they're going in with the way they've positioned all 4 of these on television. But I think it's not going to happen until either at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania, if it does happen. But it seems like they're going in that direction, little subtle things here and there. Of course, they can change direction every week depending on how Vince McMahon feels or the creative team feels. But I do definitely think that is kind of the way they're going to be going.
All right, well, let's push on. We got 2 matches left on the card, and both of them I'm actually really excited about. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. I see this one as being a good old-fashioned slobber knocker, as JR would call it. I've actually got Braun Strowman going over here. I just think that they're going to continue to push him and build him into that monster, kind of for the same reason why I think that Nia Jax is going to keep winning. Vince likes him some monster, and honestly, Braun Strowman is over right now. Did y'all see the kip up he did in the ring a couple weeks ago?
Oh yeah, I mean that was phenomenal. That whole match against Big Show was ridiculous.
Absolutely. And so when you have that kind of momentum, I just think that WWE is going to keep riding that wave. Scott, again, man, I got to ask, you agree with me here, or is this going to be the Roman Empire conquering again?
I want to say that I'm going to go with Braun here as well. I mean, I've really, one of those, we talk about Bayley and the use of Bayley, but the complete opposite could be said about Braun Strowman. They've done such a good job and kind of building him up. And that was a big moment for me anyway, no pun intended, but a big moment when he faced the Big Show and had that really standout match. When we look back at the career of Braun Strowman, I'm going to look back at that match on Raw where he kind of opened a lot of eyes and really showed that his athletic ability and why he's so special and why, they're kind of portraying him the way they are and giving him the opportunity. He's definitely run with the ball. He's definitely come into his own the last couple of months. I think Roman and Braun have the potential to have a really surprisingly good match, surprising to a lot of people, but I wouldn't be surprised because I think Roman is really strong in the ring and he has good matches more times than not. And I think these two seem to have a little bit of chemistry on the live events. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this transpires, but I want to see Braun get the rub here and kind of get that big boost heading into WrestleMania.
Aaron, what's your take, buddy?
I've been going back and forth on this match, and it's not how you would think I'd be going back and forth on it, because I don't think Roman winning is an option. I think that the question right now is Braun going to win and win cleanly, or is this going to be a non-finish? And the reason is because of the Undertaker. We know that he's going to get involved at some point. We assume it's going to be Reigns Taker at WrestleMania. It would not surprise anyone for Undertaker to show up here. And it could be just a carbon copy repeat of that Lesnar-Rollins match from 2 summers ago, where Undertaker shows up. It's a no contest, and that's how you get it done. So I could see it being a no contest, or I could see Braun win. The interesting thing about Braun is the way that WWE is positioning him, intentionally or not. they're positioning him as a face, not just in this feud, but overall.
Mm-hmm.
They've stopped having him beat up smaller guys. They've stopped having him, attack people from behind. They've stopped all these things. They've been putting him against guys who are bigger than him. They've been positioning him as plain and simple, an ass kicker, not just a monster anymore, this heel monster. And I don't know if it's intentionally or not, but they are positioning him as a face. And that's the real interesting thing for me going forward.
I can't remember the last time I've seen such an agile big man in the ring. Like, it's been decades, if ever, to be honest with you. This guy is quick. He can move. He's not one of those big, sluggish, slow-moving big guys. And frankly, honestly, I was really impressed with the Big Show during that match as well. But I'll tell you both why I really, really, really like Braun Strowman. And it's because I guess a month or two ago, I was listening to Talk is Jericho, and I think that Strowman was one of the guests on the Talkin' Shop where he has Gallows and Anderson on there as well. And Strowman was talking about this wacky little app that he has on his phone where he marks everywhere in the world that he drops a deuce. And he was so proud about this app, I couldn't help but to like the guy.
I
thought you were going to say... I thought you were going to say you like the guy because, you came across his Tinder profile. You thought it was pretty impressive.
I was going to say that his Tinder profile is fantastic.
Nah, man. That guy is pure care. And he's good on the mic, man. He's really good on the mic.
It's amazing.
He's a throwback.
Think about last year. Remember the rumors after Cena went down? One of the big rumors was that Taker would end up facing Braun Strowman. And the internet just freaked out about that. They wanted nothing to do with it. Now you look at it a year later, and we're concerned. Actually, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit concerned that Braun might not get a good enough spot on WrestleMania right now with how the card's playing out. And it's just amazing how far he's come in a year.
So
I remember when there was talk about Undertaker and Braun Strowman, I was like, that's going to be awful. And now I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't have minded seeing that now.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wondered, I scratched my head a little bit about Bray Wyatt and John Cena at WrestleMania 30, and that's when Bray was really just starting to catch fire. I was like, is he really ready for this spot? But sure the hell enough, man, he really impressed, and I could see Braun doing the same thing. But my question is, if it's not going to be Undertaker, because it looks like Reigns and Undertaker, who is left for Strowman to fight? I mean, we have Shaquille O'Neal apparently backing out of his feud with the Big Show, so do they put those two back together?
They could.
I see it more as a Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, and then I'm with you because they've made the Andre the Giant Battle Royal so meaningless. Like, you could do something where you go back to the Sami Zayn feud. Especially if you find a way, maybe Jericho drops the title to one of them, and then you have Braun versus Sami for the U.S. title at Mania. That's something you could do. It doesn't seem like they're going that way at this point, but at this point, you're just kind of scrambling. I'm with you. It's weird that there doesn't seem to be a natural place for Braun at WrestleMania unless you throw him into that Reigns Taker match. You make it a triple threat.
Now, I could get behind that. I could definitely get behind that.
I think the key there is just what you want to do with that match. I'm concerned about Taker. The way he looked at the Rumble, it just did not look good at all. That was the first time I can remember in a long, long time that I came into I really questioned whether The Undertaker could wrestle a match. So I don't know what he's going to be like at WrestleMania, but adding Braun to it could make that match a lot better.
All right. Well, let's wrap up. We got one match left on the card.
Well, actually, we didn't go over the tag
skipped
team
one.
title match.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we sure as hell did. My apologies.
Well,
we
that
did.
just shows you how important you think that match is.
Hey, you know
And
what?
for good reason. And for good reason.
I'm a fan of Enzo and Cass. I hate what they're doing with Enzo right now. I think that what they are doing with Enzo and making him look like a tiny little meaningless midget, and they're also limiting his mic time. What good is he at that point if you're not really letting him show off what he can do in the ring and you're not letting him talk on the mic, which got him way over when he first debuted? What in the hell are they doing with Enzo? Like, this split between he and Cass, that's coming sooner rather than later, and you actually saw that seed get planted Monday night.
They've screwed up the entire tag division. You have the club jobbing 3 straight weeks, jobbing in handicap matches to one guy, and then you have Enzo and Cass, who Enzo, intentionally or not, like I go back to a couple of weeks ago where after they beat Cesaro and Sheamus and he said, we got that kryptonite over and over again. That was annoying. That those thank you Sheamus chants weren't a fluke. That was Enzo being annoying and fans genuinely happy that Enzo got kicked in the face. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're intentionally speeding up that breakup and about to turn heel, but the entire tag division's a complete mess right now.
I agree. Scott, who wins this one, man? You got Gallows and Anderson, or do you see Enzo and Cass walking away with the gold?
I think Gallows and Anderson, I could see them walking away, but winning. But I do want to see, given what went on in NXT, they never got a chance to win the tag team titles, and then now on the main roster, it would be nice for them to get a run with the titles. But like you guys said, just the way that they've been using Enzo, it really makes me want to see a breakup, because they've obviously put a spotlight on Big Cass and in a big way, and especially after when Enzo got injured and they kind of put him in that single spot, and showed that he could more than hold his own on the microphone and in the ring. And that was one of the big things about these big men, is they had put him with someone with thinking that they can't carry their weight on the microphone, and now you have someone who can do both in the ring and Big Cass and get himself over. That maybe they're starting to think of, okay, maybe we need to split these guys up going forward. And so maybe they're kind of juggling, tossing around that idea. So in that case, I don't see them winning the tag team titles this Sunday. But definitely think there needs to be some sort of restructuring with the tag team division, or some renewed focus, or something needs to go on. Because I agree with you, especially what they've done with Gallows and Anderson with the tag team titles, and in general use of them since they, right after their debut.
They came in red hot and they faded. I mean, when they were still paired with AJ before the brand split there, they could do no wrong. They were super popular, and now they're kind of lost in the shuffle. The New Day has gone stale. Did you guys notice on Monday how the New Day got virtually no reaction from the crowd?
It's again, like I said, the entire tag division's so bad right now, and it's such an indictment on. I don't like to really criticize heavily, especially the creative team, too much, because they have such a hard job. But if you can't find a match for the New Day at WrestleMania, they're the hosts. If that's the best you can do for them, like, what are you doing? This is 4 months ago. This is, without a question of doubt, the hottest act in WWE. And they fall into this point where you can legitimately say, well, probably the best thing they can do with them right now is hosting. So, yeah, the New Day's a mess. The club's the mess. Enzo and Cass is a mess. And you go down, and if you think about it, at Survivor Series, the Raw tag teams were red hot. Cesaro and Sheamus had started to heat up then. Like, the tag division looked so good at that point, and we've fallen so far so quickly that I can't even think about what they're doing. Like, they might not even have a tag match at Mania. And if they do, it's just going to be a multi-man, that four-way tag match that we have every year on the pre-show. It's not good right now. As far as my pick, I'm going to pick Gallows and Anderson just because they're acting so weirdly around Enzo and Cass right now. Plus, I think that if they do want Enzo and Cass to win, at this point, they're better holding off for Mania to try to get that big Mania moment pop. Enzo and Cass finally wins it in front of a crowd like that. That'll truly appreciate it. But I just have no idea what they're doing with the tag division as a whole.
Just real quick before we move on to the main event, when they do eventually split up Enzo and Cass, what happens to Enzo? Where does he go? I mean, I don't want to see him fall down to, the level of, he's not obviously going to be in a tag team, but, don't want to see him become the shining stars or Titus O'Neil. That's a better analogy for the level that I hope that Enzo doesn't fall to. Does he then get moved to the Cruiserweight division? What do they do with him?
I don't know. I could maybe pair him with someone else. I mean, he could get lost in the shuffle very easily if they're not careful. And he's a good talent on the mic. He definitely can get the crowd going. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what would happen in a kind of a single scenario. I see so many guys in a tag team situation who've gone. One guy that have gone on, the other's fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, I don't think that they push him as a single superstar. What I could see is he becomes basically a full-time manager. He finds somebody else, maybe. But I never thought that this would be the scenario. But the way they're positioning it is almost like. I always thought that if Cass and Enzo broke up, it would be that, Cass, the big angry heel, turns on face Enzo. But the way they're positioning Enzo right now is almost as like the annoying mouthpiece, the Jimmy Hart, if you will. And I could almost see him turning into a heel manager that way. I think it would be a disaster because everyone wants to cheer Enzo. but I almost wonder if they might try to go that way with him.
I think he could do a really good job on commentary. Come to think about it, I think he could do a bang-up job. I don't know what spot there would be for him, but I think he would be, pardon the pun, a shining star there.
Well, you want to make it a 5-man booth over on SmackDown right now?
No, we'd have to get rid of somebody. No offense to David Otunga, but what the hell does he bring to the table?
I was just joking. It just seems like the way that WWE is going, pretty soon it's going to be like inside the NFL with 9 guys on the desk.
All right, gentlemen, main event is left, of course, the big championship match, Kevin Owens versus Goldberg, and this one's going to have more twists and turns than a Shonda Rhimes TV show. So, Aaron, let's start with you, man. How is this one? Who walks away with the title? Because a lot of people are saying this one could be a coin flip. Where's your coin falling?
I mean, look, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho is the title match everybody wants to see. They've been building towards this literally since August. They had this huge moment. It's going to be a huge moment when Jericho finally returns to try to get his revenge. But you know what? Because this is Vince McMahon, because this is WrestleMania, we are not going to get the title match we want. Vince McMahon sees it in his head. Brock Lesnar, Goldberg for the title, the main event at WrestleMania. And I don't blame him. That's a huge match. That's a match you can sell. And when the other match is, while it's going to be very cool over on SmackDown, the other title match, it's not going to be that marquee match. Like the marquee match from SmackDown, it's quite frankly probably going to be that mixed tag match with Cena and The Miz. So if that title match isn't going to be the main match over on SmackDown, I could see him saying, we want this main match over on Raw to be Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. So yes, we are going to be saying in 2017 that Goldberg is a champion in WWE.
God help us. Scott, please tell me you disagree.
I do disagree. I think Kevin Owens is going to win this match. I think Brock Lesnar is going to have some sort of interference. I know it wouldn't make sense why would he cost Goldberg the championship? I think it's just he doesn't care about the championship. He wants to beat up Goldberg. He wants to ruin whatever streak or whatever he's got going on because of what happened to him at Survivor Series and everything at Royal Rumble. So I think that will play a role in heading into WrestleMania. I think there's, a lot of people, I don't know if it may disagree or may not, but having Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, I still think is big enough that it does not need the title to be on the line. I think the story that's been told over the past few months with the title, with them sharing championships, making the inside jokes, the little digs here and there, the subtlety of it, and in the masterful way they pulled it off at the end between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, I think that warrants a championship match, and I think it should warrant a championship match heading into WrestleMania with Jericho and how good he's been and how as good as Kevin Owens has been. So I'm going to continue to go with Kevin Owens holding the championship, but definitely some shenanigans are going to be taking place.
Yeah, you know what, Scott, I agree with you here, man. Aaron, believe me, I'm so on the fence about this match. It's not even funny. It's like 51-49.
I hope you guys are right. I really hope, because we deserve, as wrestling fans, we deserve Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Universal title.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I got Goldberg winning this one by disqualification. Obviously, the title won't change hands. I got Jericho and Lesnar getting involved in this, and it's just going to be one big old cluster at the end of it. And I think that if done right, everybody walks away happy. If done wrong, we riot. That's basically what it boils down to here. But I got Goldberg by DQ, and Aaron, I mean, if Goldberg walks away with the title, my hat's off to you, but I am not going to be a happy camper.
Oh, no one's going to be a happy camper. And actually, that's going to be one of the fascinating things. If Goldberg does end up winning the title, it's been fascinating how over he's been, even with the smarky crowds, getting to chant the Goldberg and really getting cheers. I feel like if he wins the titles, those cheers stop instantly, especially with the murderer row of cities that are coming up between now and Mania.
Yep. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, Scott, at what point does the WWE Universe end this honeymoon here for Goldberg?
I think, fans love nostalgia, and I myself, I wouldn't mind. I mean, if he wins the title, I'm not going to, call in sick at work and be like, I can't, I'm so angry I'm never going to watch WWE ever again. I'm not going to scream at the television and then post it on YouTube or, my reaction. But as much as I want, Kevin Owens to win, I could see, the nostalgia heading into WrestleMania. They want someone an established name who has notoriety that could bring in some casual fans over. I understand that argument too. So, I mean, I'm not going to, I was a Goldberg fan. I think they've done somewhat an effective job with him heading in. I actually am surprised about, the big reactions that he was getting. And I'm surprised he wasn't, I guess with Kurt Angle coming in, that it would have been a tie-in with the Hall of Fame, but that, maybe that's next year when they need another headliner. But, I don't mind seeing Goldberg in these kind of scenarios and interacting with a lot of the guys. And winning the title again, I mean, that might be a factor that turned people off, but I think it may actually, maybe it wasn't because of they want to cheer him against Brock Lesnar because Lesnar and Heyman.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Aaron Oster from the Rolling Stone magazine and the Baltimore Sun, and of course, TV insider Scott Fishman. Gentlemen, always a slice of heaven.
Always. Best part of my day, even if as it's raining outside, hearing your voice shine some light.
Doesn't it just tickle the cockles of your heart?
Very much so.